everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new, and today is a very exciting video. Now, I guess if you're not new to my channel, or at least haven't been subscribed to my channel since like 2022, then this is new to you. But if you have been subscribed since 2022, you actually might already know this legacy challenge. But about 3 years ago, I actually created a little legacy challenge called the applewhimslegacy challenge, and I just wanted to take the time and make another video about this legacy challenge to introduce a lot of my new viewers to it, because like I said, I created this 3 years ago. Yeah, back then I don't even know if I had 100 subscribers yet, so that is definitely why I wanted to like go over this challenge, introduce it to my new viewers, my new subscribers, and also I wanted to go over it again because I did a little bit of a poll on my YouTube page asking you guys if you guys were familiar with this challenge, and even if you were or you weren't, would you be interested in seeing me do a let's play on my own challenge, the applewhimslegacy challenge? And thankfully all the votes were pointing to a yes, you guys would like to see it, whether or not you had already heard of it before or hadn't heard of it before. The votes are currently actually at 50-50 at the time I'm recording this, so that's like definitely really exciting to see that there are a lot of subscribers of mine that like were following me back then and still like subscribe to me now, especially after like I took a huge hiatus, so thank you to you guys. But yeah, we are going to be doing this in a let's play, and I thought everyone, I feel like on YouTube nowadays is totally into like the legacy challenge craze. I keep seeing people do like very veggie. I've been seeing some celibacy. I still see like, what's Boba Tea Tales, the other one, the love struck legacy. I don't actually think I'm saying the name of that legacy challenge right, but I've been seeing so many legacy challenges, and I thought, why not introduce people to mine? Now, this legacy challenge is about 3 years outdated, and it's only based off of packs that I owned 3 years ago, so it's definitely not going to be like the most current up-to-date thing, but I am going to share it with you guys anyways. So in saying that, let's hop in to the Applewhims Legacy Challenge. Okay, so here we have it, Applewhims Legacy Challenge. I am going to go over every generation in this video so you guys can hear a little bit about it. Now, I actually don't even fully remember every single generation. I have like the first 5 in my head, maybe not exactly the first 5, but I have like a handful of ones that I like remember creating this legacy challenge, being so excited to play, and then I never got past Gen 2. It was just because I was impatient waiting for my Gen 3 heir to age up, and I was like already done with everything I needed to do in Gen 2. Hate playing challenges. That was the whole reason I created one, was in hopes that I would create something that I'd actually enjoy playing, and I didn't disenjoy it by any means. I actually loved the family that I had back then, but I'm so bad with waiting for my Sims to age up in like while I'm playing challenges. But anyways, Applewhims Legacy Challenge. Are you someone who enjoys a story for your gameplay, or someone who enjoys a challenge? What about both? This is a challenge that explores certain gameplay elements that I tend to overlook and some that I enjoy, but it also has story elements to help keep the game interesting and possibly drama-filled. If you guys know me and my channel, I'm a huge fan of like story-based let's plays or just gameplay in general. I feel like if I play The Sims, it has to have some sort of story, or else I get very bored of it, so that was definitely my intention with this legacy challenge. It also says, do you want to like a challenge you will want to keep coming back to, something that'll make your Sims feel real and have you invested in their pixel lives? Well, this might be the challenge for you. And so here we have the general legacy rules. You should complete each goal listed for each generation in order to move on to the next one. That's pretty self-explanatory. Most legacy challenges are like that. Some cheats are allowed to progress the story. If it requires for the story, you can use cast off edit mode, where it says no money cheats, but you can use free real estate for your Gen 1 home, because that Sim is already supposed to have a previously lived life ahead of the beginning of the legacy challenge. I did not like the idea of starting on an empty lot. I think you should really have them in like a home, whether it's already fully cluttered up like they've lived there for a while, or even if it's like maybe they just moved to this new home. You can have them living in like a partially empty house, but like the base is there. That's kind of what I have envisioned for at least Gen 1. Preferably the lifespan should be on normal or long, but only use long if that's something that you would prefer to help out with a specific generation's story or goals, because I'm sure there is a generation within here where it might be a little bit harder to get done within like the young adult or like adult set days that the game has, so you can always go on long. It's also just whatever you'd prefer for your gameplay, to be honest. And then check out the rules for each generation for what's a specific aspiration, traits, career, or skills that you may need. And if you play this challenge, please tag me in hashtag applewhimslegacy on Tumblr or Instagram. I don't actually use any of those anymore, so comment on my YouTube channel because I will not see it if you do it on Tumblr or Instagram. You can also send me any posts or YouTube videos that you may have of yourself playing this challenge, and I'll make sure to check them out. I will definitely make sure to check them out because I love seeing people actually be interested in what I've created. Okay, so the packs required. This challenge requires several different packs which will be listed, and some packs are more crucial than others. So if they're small skills like I have like bowling, knitting, I think I have dancing for one of them. Feel free to substitute those with like whatever that you would prefer to match the generation the best, because those are things from like specific packs. Overall, my whole like mindset with this challenge, if you don't have a pack, you can figure out what packs you do have in your game, or if you're just playing a base game, kind of get creative with it and figure out what you would like to substitute things with, because not everyone is as expected to own the same things as like everyone else. Like I know I don't own a lot of the newer expansion packs just because I personally don't care to purchase those. These are the packs required, and they're matching generations. Gen 1 has the most packs. I feel like after Gen 1, there's like, they either have 1 or they have 2. I think the most is, besides Gen 1, is 3. But Gen 1 is a lot. So packs required: Gen 1, cats and dogs, get to work, snowy escape, nifty knitting, and outdoor retreat for the trait. 2, you need discover university and cottage living. Gen 3, get famous. Gen 4, get famous in city living. Gen 5, cottage living. Gen 6, jungle adventure. I definitely remember putting that one in there as a challenge for myself, because to this day, I think I've only touched jungle adventure once. And then there's Gen 7, cats and dogs. Gen 8, get together and get to work. Gen 9, bowling night, snowy escape, and city living. And then Gen 10, parenthood, eco lifestyle, and dine out. In saying all the packs, let's actually get into each generation. Starting with Gen 1, the life for me. An odd child with many skills and hobbies, you never knew what you wanted to do next with your life. It wasn't until recently moving into a new town when you really started thinking about everything. You moved in and immediately started your career as a salary person. This was a job that you had no true interest in, but you had it anyways. You had a true passion for animals. You'd always had a pet your entire life, and you believe that you cannot live without one. When you were younger, you believed that you'd become a veterinarian, but people put this idea into your head that you would be better off with a desk job, considering how squeamish you are. You dropped this dream until meeting the love of your life. They inspire you to move forward with your dreams, and so you start your career and get there slowly. You quit your job as a supervisor, and you begin selling your knitted creations and open up a small vet clinic. Over time, both of your businesses grow, and your life begins to feel like a dream, making your younger self proud and starting both your own business and a family of your own. So the Gen 1 rules are: start with a pet in your household, but they must be an elder. You must have at least 5 different pets throughout your entire life. You must marry a sim who is a doctor. You must join the salary person career and then go into the supervisor branch and then quit your job 2 days after working in that branch. You must run a vet clinic, and you have to actually like play at the vet clinic at least 4 times, so you can't just open it and then have your sim never actually play there within your gameplay. You have to do the gameplay running your vet clinic at least 4 times. You must sell your knitted work on Plopsy as a side hustle. If you want, you could also open up a small business if that was something you'd like to do. I don't know if you can own a small business and a veterinarian clinic at the same time. I've never tried, but if you can, you are more than welcome to do that. And you must complete the Lady or Lords of the Knit aspiration. You must have either the cat lover or dog lover trait. You can have both if you want. And the squeamish trait. And you must max the veterinarian skill, knitting skill, and optional also the dance skill, because the thing suggests at the beginning you had many skills and hobbies as a child. So maybe you grew up as a dancer, or your family enrolled you in dance classes. Max out that skill if you would like. If you don't, you don't have to. I know when I first played this challenge, I did not actually max out the dance skill because the sim I had created, I just didn't see her as the dancer type. But the sim that I currently have created for my new attempt at this challenge, she totally would max out that dance skill. Then we have Gen 2, unexpectedly. Growing up, you had a normal childhood. You received lots of love and affection from your parents. You got good grades, had a best friend, and a strong relationship with your parents. You never had time for dating in high school as you were too busy keeping up your grades so that you could get into a good university, possibly get a scholarship or a distinguished degree. When getting into university, your plan was to focus on your studies, but without any intention of falling in love, you found the sim of your dream. The two of you hit it off immediately and moves fast with your relationship, getting engaged and married while still being in university. Also unplanned, you fall pregnant towards the end of your studies, but despite all of these unexpected life events, you still manage to graduate at the top of your class. After graduating, you begin your career as a judge and focus on both your family and your career in the world of law. Also unexpectedly, you find a new love for the craft of cross-stitching as it reminds you of your parents' old craft for knitting. But the Gen 2 rules are go to university once you become a young adult and take the history degree. Aim for a distinguished one. Meet a sim in university with the ambitious trait and fall in love with them. Get married while in university to that sim. Have a maximum of 2 children and have the first one either during university or immediately after graduation. You must complete the law career in the judge branch. You must have the geek trait and must have the research and debate skill and cross-stitching skill. You must complete the academic aspiration, and I also have a bonus. I think I added this after high school years. It says if you have the high school years expansion pack, give your sim the overachiever trait and join the chess club. Gen 3 cinema. Growing up, you always loved watching movies. They fascinated you and you always imagined yourself on the screen, imagining that you were in your favorite shows and movies. As a child, you begged your parents to enroll you in a drama club, which they agreed to do. From there, you were the top of your class. You made other kids jealous and made a few enemies at a young age, but it didn't bother you. You just cared about how well you were doing. The minute you graduated, you didn't enroll in university like your parents did. You wanted to jump straight into acting work, so you joined an acting agency. From there, you started off with small gigs until you worked your way up into fame. Soon you made a name for yourself and you make it big. You mingle with a couple of celebrities and find yourself getting pregnant with one of their babies. Or if you're playing as a male sim, then you would impregnate a celebrity. But they want nothing to do with the child, so you raise it on your own, or so you thought you would. Soon after falling pregnant, you fall in love with someone outside of the world of fame. You begin a relationship and start a family with them, and they raise your fair baby as if it was their own, which is what the child believes their entire life, that your partner is also their birth parent. You balance a family life and your fame. You start off as a nobody and eventually become a household name. So the Gen 3 rules are must enroll in a drama club as a child and continue as a teenager and reach level 3, which is the highest level of the drama club. Join an agency immediately after aging up into a young adult. So that's when you join the acting career. You get to join an agency and get pregnant with another celebrity's child, but have no further relationship with that individual. So just like a hookup. Soon after falling pregnant, begin to fall in love with an average / not famous sim. Start a family with that sim and have at least one child with them and have your partner raise your fair child as their own. Must reach level 10 in the acting career and must max the acting skill, must complete the master actor aspiration. There's a lot of rules for this generation. Oh my goodness. Must have the self-absorbed trait and must become a 5-star celebrity. I think a lot of these generations are very packed with rules, so hopefully you like that in your legacy challenges. Generation 4, nepotism. You always hated being in the shadow of your parent, but still always loved certain aspects of the spotlight and fame. It was just the fact that you were known because of your parent and not because of yourself. You want to make a name for yourself and prove to people that you can do that without the help of your parent and your nepotism. As a teenager, you get a part-time job to help you gain some money to help you move out of your parents' house. You have always been independent, not wanting your parents' help with things, so moving out as a young adult is something that you always wanted to do. You have a little place of your own, somewhere peaceful and far away from your parents. You love singing, but hate the idea of performing, although sometimes you can work up the courage to do it, but singing is more of a smaller hobby for you. You have a real passion for something else. You've always loved writing. You loved reading since you were a child and found an interest in writing once you were a preteen or teenager. You've written short stories for school assignments and always succeeded with them, being told that you had a talent for writing and a very wild imagination. You decided that you want to start writing, but you don't want people to buy your books because of your parent and your attachment to them. So before you publish your first story, you come up with an alias, a name for your written work, for what's actually being written. Throughout your career, you build a following, but never reveal your identity. But after becoming successful, you reveal your identity as being your parents' child and confirm that you went under an alias. For your writing, you continue to use this name, although you are not as opposed to being in the public eye, since you no longer have complete association with your parent. I hope that made sense. I'm reading through that description now and I'm like, what did I write 3 years ago? The Gen 4 rules: have a part-time job as a teenager, move out of your parents' house as a teenager, or at least once you've fully completed Gen 3. Do not join the writing career, only publish books and make a living off of those. Keep your children out of the public eye as per your partner's request. You must max the writing skill and the singing skill because you have a secret passion for singing. You must complete the best-selling author aspiration. You must have the bookworm trait and loner trait, and you must become at least a 3-star celebrity. You can try to aim for 5-star, just like your Sims parent, but 3-star is all you need at least to succeed with the challenge rules. And change your Sims name. You can either change their first name or their last name, or you can do both. But you may change it back to their original name once they've made a name for themselves. Gen 5, Henford. One of your parents made sure that you were kept out of the public eye, which is something that you were really grateful for. Your famous parent and your grandparents' lives of fame and fortune never really interested you. You always preferred living a more peaceful life and found a love for nature and animals. You loved the idea of living off somewhere with a lot of heart and personality, but something that was very different compared to where you were raised. When you become a young adult, you decide to move out with your best friend, and the two of you move to the sweet town of Henford-on-Bagley. You move into a cottage and begin to raise animals on a farm. You love and care for your animals, but also use them as a source of income, profiting off of their natural resources without causing any harm to them. You also have a garden for oversized crops. You start a small local business selling different products and treats that you gathered from your farm and garden, which begins to slowly grow over time. You use these resources to also participate in local fairs. Over the course of living with your best friend, you begin to develop strong feelings for them, which then leads into a romantic relationship between the two of you. Before dating them, you have had a short-lived relationship with one of the townspeople that ends mutually, with the two of you remaining good friends. So the Gen 5 rules are: have the same best friend your entire life since you are a child, move into a cottage in Henford-on-Bagley as a young adult with your best friend, have a short-lived romance or relationship with one of the townspeople but remain good friends after the breakup. Shortly after the breakup, you discover your feelings for your best friend and begin a relationship with them. Have a farm with at least 2 chicken coops, 1 cow, and 1 llama. Have an oversized crop garden. Participate at every type of Finchwick fair at least once, which is something I don't think I've ever done in my game. Complete at least 1 town favor. Make your living/profit off of your animals and crops, so like eggs, milk, wool, meat if you would like. You don't have to if you don't want to. And do this by either opening a retail shop, using Get to Work, or... Okay, so instead of Get to Work, I'd actually recommend small business. I hate Get to Work. That system is so messy. So small business, or you can use a vending table. You must have the animal enthusiast trait, and you must have the country caretaker aspiration. Due to the many rules of this gen, you don't need to complete it unless you would prefer to. You must max the gardening skill, and not required, you can join the gardening career, but you must follow the botanist branch. Gen 6, dangerous ways. You grew up in a small town that you always wanted to get out of. It wasn't because you hated the town, it was just because you loved exploring. You loved to travel and explore new places, and your family took you on your first trip when you were a child, and ever since, you were longing for more. You went to Salvadorada, I think that's how you say it, but you fell in love with the culture and you were amazed by the area. It always fascinated you. You wanted to begin exploring the world as a teenager, but your parents would never let you. They believed it would be too dangerous and they didn't want you to get hurt. They also didn't trust you to keep yourself safe. Because of this, you had a rift in your relationship with your parents. You would do what you wanted to and they couldn't stop you. So during high school, you get a part-time job to save up money for any future travels. Once you graduate from high school, you celebrate by taking yourself your first of many trips to Salvadorada, and you are an adventurous sim and find such thrill and danger, but still find fear in risky missions. You also find fear in becoming a parent. You hate children as you believe they would interfere with exploring and traveling. You never planned to have children, but accidentally became pregnant. So the Gen 6 rules are travel to / vacation in Salvadorada for the first time as a child. Travel / vacation there at least 5 times during your life. Must travel / vacation to another world at least once. You must accidentally get pregnant with your partner's child and then break up with them shortly after the birth of the child. Only have that one child unless your sim uncontrollably has twins or triplets. Have poor relationships with both of your parents and your child. So overall, the sim is a pretty not so great person. Must complete jungle explorer aspiration. Must have the hates children and adventurous traits. And must max the Salvadoran culture and the archaeology skills. Gen 7, Villainous Valentine. You never had a close relationship with your parent as you felt she hated you, or him or they, whatever. I think I just always envisioned that sim to be a female. You moved in with your other parent. They loved you more than anything else in the world, and you were grateful to have them in your life. The parent that you lived with eventually found love again, which warmed your heart, although you had poor beliefs in love and romance. You thought it was ridiculous, and you criticized people who gave their hearts up too easily. You begin a life of flirtatiousness and crime. You steal people's hearts and their belongings. You always thought that it would be the perfect crime until it wasn't. You fall in love with one of the sims that you were out to fool. Then you begin to feel like a fool. You realize that they were the one for you, and that if you wanted to be good enough for them, then you would have to change some of your ways, as you can't break all your habits. You commit to them, but can't shake off the habit of actual crime. You continue to steal, but you make sure that your love never learns about your stealing. I actually totally forgot about this generation. Gen 7 must have the kleptomaniac, non-committal, and romantic traits. Must complete the Villainous Valentine aspiration. Never touched that aspiration in my life. Must complete the criminal career boss branch. Must max the mischief and charisma skills. Fall in love with a sim that you were meant to break the heart of and eventually stop your heartbreaking ways. Have a Sphinx cat, which is a hairless cat, and must have at least 2 kids. So that's the rules for Gen 7. Gen 8, jealousy. You always notice something mysterious about your parent. They always seemed a little off to you, as if they had something to hide. You discover your parents' past life of infidelity and try to tell your sibling about it, but they don't believe you. They call you a liar and ridicule you as they believe that you are trying to ruin your family, similarly to your one grandparent. Because of this moment, your sibling begins to gain a disliking to you and starts to create lies just to get you in trouble. Everyone at school begins to dislike you too, and your sister looks like an angel. You're trying to tell your parents about this issue, but they push it aside as they believe the two of you are just being kids. As a teenager, you begin to become envious over your sibling. You used to be the golden child with a high talent for music, but now you seem to be in their shadow. When starting high school, you try to step out of your sibling's shadow. Unfortunately, you have to start to become someone who you're not. You switch up your hair, your clothes, and your sibling notices that you're starting to become a lot like them, although no one else notices this. You gain popularity back and you start your own club as you find enjoyment in spending time with the other people who look up to you. It's like you're beginning to feel how your sibling has for all of these years, although it's still not enough for you. You now have a career and have your own life, and yeah, it doesn't feel right. You still long for one thing that your sibling has that you don't, their partner. Begin getting closer with them, and eventually you have an affair with them. Remembering your parents' past life of infidelity, you don't feel much shame in what you have done until you suddenly do. Getting eaten by the guilt, you think that the only way to make things better is to get pregnant, which you do with your partner. And as a detective, you know how to hide all of the evidence of the affairs so no one will ever find out about what you've done. Gen 8 rules are must live in Windenburg and start your own club. You must take over a club, replace a previous leader. You must max the violin and DJ mixing skills. Must have the music lover and jealous traits. Must complete the detective career. Must have an affair with your sibling's partner, so woohoo with them at least 2 times. And shortly after the affair, get pregnant with your partner's baby. Your sibling's partner cannot be the parent of your child or children. And finally, you must complete the leader of the pack aspiration. Next is Gen 9, taking risks. Your entire life, you've always loved sports and anything physical. You're always known to be an energetic and sporty child. You love having fun and love a challenge. After moving to Mount Komorebi, you fall in love with all the winter sports that they have available and find a love for rock climbing. You want to challenge yourself to climb to the top of the mountain, and eventually you do. You work as an athlete and people recognize your energy and love for fitness. You can't get enough of it all, but you still like to have some fun indoors too. You have a love for bowling. Some people think it's lame, but you find it almost as exciting as climbing a mountain or playing on the field with your team. You just have such a rush for life and enjoying living in the moment that you would hate to worry about focusing on simple things like getting married. You never enjoyed the idea of being married and having to show off to people that you love someone. You just cared about being committed and showing love to the person you're with and making sure that they just knew how much you loved them. And in saying all this, you still don't prioritize your relationship, just your family and yourself. So Gen 9 rules: you must max the bowling, fitness, and rock climbing skills and reach level 5 in either skiing or snowboarding. If you want to, you could do both, but it's either or. You must complete the athletic career in the athlete branch. You must live in Mount Komorebi. You must climb to the top of Mount Komorebi, which I don't think I've ever done before. You must have the active and unflirty traits. You must complete the bodybuilder aspiration, and you must never marry. You can date a sim as long as you like, but no official marriage. And finally, last but not least, we have Gen 10, the family tree. You grew up in a loving household with 2 parents that you look up to. You saw how adventurous and brave that one of them was, and admired how they always did what they wanted to while still making time for their family. It made you realize just how family really is, and inspired you to become a super parent one day, similarly to how you saw your parents. One thing that always stuck out to you about them was their relationship. They were never married. You start to believe that maybe if you got married, then it would impact how well your parenting would be for your children. So you marry the person you love at the time, someone who you believed to be your high school sweetheart. Unfortunately, the 2 of you begin to lose your love and connection with one another, and you get divorced. You begin to think that you need to be with someone to be the perfect parent, but then soon realize that your thought process was ridiculous and that you can be a super parent all on your own. While all this is happening, you're also a super hard worker. You work as a food critic, but also own your own restaurant. You know good food and know that your restaurant can be the best place to serve it. Despite knowing that you don't need someone, you find someone who you truly love and you get married to them. You're super in love, are a super parent, and own a super restaurant. Despite the downfall with your first marriage, you begin to realize that you have an incredible life and you are super grateful for it. So the Gen 10 rules are must max the parenting, gourmet cooking, juice fizzing, and cooking skills. You must complete the critic career in the food branch, must complete the super parent aspiration, must have the family-oriented and foodie traits. You must have at least 3 kids. They don't all have to be with the same sim. For example, 2 of them can be from your first marriage, and then 1 more from the second, or vice versa, or they can all be from the same partner if you wanted them to be. You get married and then divorced to your high school sweetheart. Get married again to a different sim who has the lactose intolerant trait. Random trait, I know, but why not? If you don't have that trait, give them whatever you want. And then optional, own a restaurant. Originally, this was mandatory, but Dine Out is buggy, so I know people don't want to do this. If you have the Dine Out mod, I don't know what it's called, but I know I have it. It actually makes Dine Out a lot less buggy. So if you are going to get up to Gen 10 and play this challenge, I recommend getting that mod if you can. But holy moly, guys, that is it. I'm actually so tired of reading out all those rules, but it's okay, because it made me fall in love all over again with this legacy challenge that I made. Like I said, 3 years ago was a long time. I remember being on a flight home and conjuring up every generation in my mind and writing them in my notes app first before coming home and writing it on a Google Doc. So I remember the memory of creating this legacy challenge, but I honestly didn't remember a lot of these generations. Obviously, I think it was Gens 3, 4, 5, and 6 were super in my mind. I really remembered those, but all the other ones, I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot about. When I was trying to think of Poppy, I was like, what did Poppy even do? I couldn't even remember. And I love Poppy Gray. I loved the Gray family when I played this. I actually still have the save file. I think the last time I touched it was in either 2023 or 2024, to be honest. I think I might have touched it at the beginning of last year or at some point last year, but I just never got past Gen 2 because my heir was still a child and I was just dying of boredom in the process of my Gen 2 heir had already finished everything for his generation, so I was just waiting for his daughter to turn into a teenager so I could actually progress with her generation, and I just hated the waiting game. So that is why I just never continued on with my own challenge. But yeah, honestly, I think it's really fun. I haven't dabbled in too many generational legacy challenges, but from the handful of them that I have seen, I feel like mine is sort of unique. If you are interested in checking out this legacy challenge, comment down below. Let me know if you ever tried it back in the day or if you're planning on trying it now. I know I'm going to do a let's play with you guys going into this challenge. I already have the sim made. You'll actually see her on the thumbnail of this video. I also will have a create sim video coming out for this sim with CC links and everything, a little introduction for her. So I don't want to give away her name or anything about her now, but there you go. But it is still even though it's a little outdated, it is still a legacy challenge I'm honestly really proud of. In my own gameplay, I might end up implementing some of the newer packs or anything just fresher I can think of. But obviously, guys, even though it is a legacy challenge and there are rules to follow, feel free to play your game however you want. Even with a legacy challenge with rules, it's not to keep you in a box and keep you constricted by any means. It is just supposed to get you to do things that you're not normally used to doing in your game. But if there are parts and elements of my legacy challenge that you are not interested in, or even if it's a full generation you're not interested in, skip that generation if you want to, or change rules about it, or even the storyline. Maybe if there's something in the storyline you really don't like, feel free to play the game however you want. This just happens to be how I wrote it, like I said, 3 years ago. Outdated, it's old, but I still love it nonetheless. So in saying all this, I am so excited to get back into this challenge, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up. Like I said, comment down below if you're gonna play it, or check out the let's play once that's out. It would mean a lot to me if you did try to play it. I think that'd be the most exciting thing ever, is hearing someone is actually playing a challenge that I created. So let me know if you do end up trying it. And yeah, and if you haven't already, also subscribe to my channel for more Applewhimslegacy fun and other Sims videos. I'm gonna head out now, but I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.